You're listening to Where You Live with Gene and Tony.
Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony. We're broadcasting from the Natural Green Lawn and Landscape Studios. We're brought to you by Extreme Exteriors and American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency. Now, if you're just joining us, we're talking about an interesting story in Florida and in Arizona. There are a group of attorneys that are involved with the state bar that are trying to carve out and define in further detail actions that have typically been the responsibility of a property management company. And but now they're saying that would constitute, if they had their way, an unauthorized practice of law. Problem I have with this is I think there's a conflict of interest. I mentioned that right away because here they're carving out something that only they would get remuneration for, and there's an issue. Number two, we're talking about are we really talking about consumer protection? I mean, I can see the reason for laws, both on a state and a national level, because you want to protect the consumer. You want to make sure that there is an even playing field for them. So that means competition. When you remove certain people from doing certain actions, you're taking away competition. And what that does is that ends up causing the price to go higher. Plus the idea of what it costs in generally a monthly fee that they just pay for a management company, a lot less and already included versus
what they
an
pay
attorney by the hour. You know, and so we're talking about really raising the cost. The consumer is not being protected here at all.
I don't think so. So what is the Florida Bar Association considering? They're looking at 4 different things in their draft of this advisory opinion.
Yes. The first thing they talk about is they do not want an association manager to be able to do any kind of modification of proxy forms that are used by the association.
And this is for voting at homeowner meetings,
yes.
Correct? If you can't attend the meeting, you can send your proxy.
Yes.
With a neighbor, or you can drop it off with the board, something like that.
And in their mind, that would be that would constitute a practice of law. Really, a form of whether or not someone can attend or not. Do we have to get the attorneys involved at that level?
What is a modification we might make, Gene, on a proxy form?
Well, there's a couple of things. One, people need to realize that a proxy can only be used for a specific meeting. You can't have one that is to be used as the end all for all time.
Yeah, or even for the next year.
So you need to do new proxies every year for every annual meeting.
Right.
If there's a special meeting, if there's a proxy form, you have to have details in there of what is on the agenda, because people have to have the ability to say, I will attend or not attend.
But they need to know what you're going to be doing at
so
that meeting.
So they can have that decision.
So we would have to change dates to fit the meeting, change the title to fit the meeting.
The agenda.
Is this an annual meeting of homeowners? Is it a special meeting? And we would have to alter it depending on what the topic of that meeting is.
Yes.
All right.
And then you can also have the options of whether or not the proxy can be used for the purposes of just meeting quorum.
That's right. You can count my proxy towards quorum so you can hold a meeting.
Or give it to someone else who will actually vote in your stead. But so these are some of the things. Really, an attorney, I don't think so.
These are routine things we do in our business. And is it really necessary for an attorney to do this?
Let's talk about another thing in Florida here. They said preparation of documents concerning the right of the association to approve new prospective owners. Ideally, we're probably talking about a special type of an association, a co-op.
Right. That's right.
That would be involved.
They would have criteria as to who can buy in and be a member. Yeah.
So what we're talking about here, Tony, is what? Just working with the association and coming up with
well,
the criteria.
We're looking at their governing documents. We have to look at their bylaws and whatever they drew up when they formed their co-op. Those things had to be in writing, what the criteria are for approval and acceptance in this co-op. So are they saying we cannot copy those? We cannot put those in plain language? We cannot...
You can't be involved in helping to write and come up with that list, apparently.
Even though you have, 25 years experience managing this type of property and working with owners?
And do we not also do that as a management company?
Yes, we do.
With landlords in coming up with a criteria for acceptance of a renter?
Oh, boy, you shouldn't have said that, Gene. Now that's going to be the next thing. Somebody's going to decide it's time to...
They'll say that's
that
practice of law.
Landlords can't do that. Managers can't do that because it's a practice of law.
And again, people need to realize people that are in property management and are doing it correctly and are professionals are licensed.
That's right.
They are licensed, and so they have... The only two, and according to the law, in all 50 states, the only two groups that can practice and talk about the transfer and sale of property are real estate licensed agents and attorneys.
There you go.
So there's got to be some. You think
there's
that
some understanding and acceptance of the fact that we are trained and take continuing education and get licensed in our field.
Yeah. And so these are some of the issues in Florida. Let's talk about a couple in Arizona, because they have a couple of things that they're concerned about too. They don't want to see a property management company involved in negotiating legal matters with an association member. So in other words, we're talking about mediation. We're talking about trying to work out something in the collection. We're involved in collecting dues.
That's right.
And then we work out repayment plans.
That's right.
But now that would be a negotiation of a legal matter, and you could not be involved in doing that.
Well, maybe we're not getting all the details, but legal matters is a very broad description. I can come up with many, many things that might be considered legal matters, and it's not very well defined. Number 3 is what got me. Represent an association in a judicial, quasi-judicial, administrative, arbitration, or mediation matter. They're considering whether or not an attorney would be required for that. An attorney isn't required in small claims court. In fact, some small claims courts won't allow an attorney to show up, and they're saying that they're going to rule that managers can't.
That is the point.
It's crazy.
Of small claims court.
That's right.
Was to have a process involved where people could bring civil cases that they have against a neighbor or someone else, without having to have all the costs of an attorney.
That's right.
So what they are essentially doing is nullifying small claims court, and
they are, and nullifying our contract that says we are a representative of this homeowners association. What is judicial and quasi-judicial? That's a very scary term. Almost anything could be called quasi-judicial. And administrative?
Yeah.
We can't represent our association.
Yeah. And another item here, they said prepare or sign legal documents on behalf of the association. It depends on what, preparing what document. If it is a power of attorney, I think we can do that.
Yeah.
Is it drafting a quitclaim deed so that there can be a transfer of property? Yeah, I think they can. I think they can do that. Is it signing a legal document like authorizing a snow removal company to go ahead and perform
contracts,
a service at the association? Yes. The whole idea of a management company is we're considered a agent of the principal.
That's right.
So that means we're standing in their shoes. We
right.
should be able to do these
now,
things.
I have to say, I think it's very clear to us when legal action or legal advice is required. Anytime an association is talking about changing their governing documents or about initiating something or enforcing something that's contradictory to their governing documents, we know we need a legal opinion on that. We need an attorney to step in and take care of that. complicated legal matters? Absolutely. Lawsuits against the association? Absolutely. We need attorneys.
So here, I mentioned at a break I wanted to talk about some thinking that I think is not being raised here. So we have a group of attorneys that are saying there are things that cannot be done because the only thing that can draft and deal with legal issues in law, and the law is what is legal, are attorneys.
Right.
That means then that you can't have anybody at the state legislature who is not an attorney. Because what is the purpose of a legislator? Is it not to put forward and to write laws and statutes? But if you
know what? Those people aren't licensed.
If you were to believe the Bar Association here in Arizona and in Florida, you wouldn't have anybody else if you were to carry that further. So I think they've got a little bit too big for their britches in Florida and Arizona. Like you said,
this should be fought.
Yeah, like you said, we're not talking about practicing law, but these are things that makes you want to go, where is the common sense? Well, hey, we've got to take a break. Don't go away. We've got one more segment of Where You Live after these messages.